Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn, a tagline that often does not apply to Patreon-sponsored reviews, which is what we've got today. And as you can see from my trappings, clearly we're reviewing Yu-Gi-Oh! Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger was the 35th Super Sentai series and was made to, presumably, celebrate the franchise's 35th anniversary. I say presumably because when I actually looked at the dates, Go Ranger, the first Sentai series, actually debuted in 1975, meaning the 35th anniversary was a year before Gokaiger premiered. So I guess Power Rangers adapted that part of the anniversary celebration too. What's amusing to me is that the biggest debate revolving around this episode is people yelling at each other over whose subtitles I should use, Overtimes or TV Nihons. After much consideration, I have decided this episode is even more illicit for me to do than the Pokemon Rebirth episode, so you'll forgive me if I care more about the fact that this episode will probably get taken down. I mean, if Toei could get History of Power Rangers taken down from YouTube, what the hell chance does reviewing the actual Sentai have? Seriously though, going with Overtimes because TV Nihon apparently sometimes leaves things untranslated, and I'd prefer to walk into this with as little difficulty as possible. But yeah, for you Power Rangers fans out there, this was the season that got adapted into Power Rangers Super Megaforce, a name that could only have sounded more like a parody of itself if they had a third season called Extreme Super Megaforce. Although amusingly enough, in South Korea, Gokaiger was apparently called Power Rangers Captain Force, which somehow sounds less silly, and yet brings about the mental image of the captains of all 5 Star Trek series uniting together as Power Rangers. Unlike the Jew Ranger review, we're not walking into this for a specific story arc, but just the first 5 episodes. I'll give my thoughts throughout, but of course in the end this'll probably be mostly me just joking around with some profoundly silly things. So let's dig into Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger and see where this takes us. Our first episode is The Space Pirates Make Landfall. Donald Trump's first day as president. Earth is under attack by the Zangyak Empire, and while I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, I also really don't care. Anywho, the Zangyak want to conquer the entire universe, which is why their soldiers should probably pick up the pace a little. Universal domination is apparently just a casual stroll for them. Elton John, what are you doing here? Wow, guys, just look at all those VR troopers.
We were discussing air supremacy, Sir Arthur.
I kid, but the Legendary War, as it's called, is still pretty damn cool to see all these years later, even if half of these teams were never Power Rangers. Of course, the fun ends when the Zangyak remember they have spaceships and blast the Sentai teams. Wasn't that what you were just doing? No, of course what he meant was, let's turn into fireworks and blow up all the enemy ships at once. Hey, that seems to work pretty damn well. Maybe you should open with that next time. Actually, it seems that doing so strips them of their powers, or maybe it kills them, I don't know, and thus they became heroes of legend and several years passed.
Hey, listen! Hey, listen!
This is Navi. Seriously, my joke works on multiple levels. The robot bird puppet who works for our heroes, who are flying through space in their, space galleon that has a big-ass sword on the front of it. Maybe that's why ramming speed is a thing. Ships are supposed to have huge-ass blades at the front of them. Ahim, the pink Gokaiger, and apparently a space princess, points out that she thinks it'll be delightful. Luca, the yellow Gokaiger, has a different reaction. Save your money, it's a cubic zirconia. The group are looking for some big treasure on the planet, which is connected with these little McDonald's Happy Meal figurines of past Sentai teams. Wait, those things have a bunch of screw holes in their backs. They're just bootleg action figures. They pick up another Zangiak fleet approaching Earth, and they ask their leader, Captain Marvelous, because we've already got at least 2 Captain Marvels, we can vary it up a bit, what to do. Actually, if you're a pirate, that means you probably made a lot of wrong moves in your life. The narrator introduces us to what this team is. And of course, their theme song. Being a pirate is a right to be. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. While I was not a fan of Zyuranger's theme song, the same can't be said of Gokaiger's. Exciting, boisterous, a strong guitar riff in the background, it's awesome stuff. Anyway, like all intergalactic empires, they're too cheap to pay for accurate targeting systems, so they get the dollar store knockoffs and hit every square inch of the area around the ship without actually touching it, allowing our heroes to shoot, slice, and become a giant robot that easily dispatches all of their opponent's forces. And bear in mind, this is like 100 ships that are smacked away effortlessly by a bunch of pirates. You know, I'm beginning to think that maybe the previous 34 Sentai teams really didn't need to give up their powers for this. Apparently, Zangiak Empire ships spontaneously combust if you look at them the wrong way. And yet, that was another thing Power Rangers Megaforce adapted, since even there you could take out an armada ship with a rock and an oversized novelty slingshot. I kid though, there is actually historical precedence of massively successful pirates. Look up Ching Shi sometime. So anyway, they head down to Earth. I wonder what time it is. Drink me in, people. They try to ask people if they know anything about the treasure, but nobody knows what they're talking about. Guess we're just gonna have to level your cities then. We apologize for the inconvenience. Up in space, other ships of the Zangiak Empire arrive. Man, they really took their sweet time from the initial invasion to get here, and learn that their advance force was destroyed. A bit excessive, but actually the advance force was carrying his internet search history. Commander Walls Gill is asked if they should develop a strategy for dealing with the pirates. Oh, yeah, and your might did a fantastic job of blowing up in front of the pirates. I'm sure you really nicked the paint job on their ship. After pawning one of Loka's rings for cash, our heroes go out for some curry. And their meal gets interrupted by the place exploding. The Zangiak begin their new invasion and blow up buildings. But to show how serious their invasion is this time, they block us from seeing part of it with the caption box I can't read. But yeah, realizing just how bad this is for the people of Earth, especially since their own home was conquered by the Empire, they decide to step in. Yeah, that curry place was actually going to get demolished if we didn't like the food. Thanks for saving us some time. So, do like any of your definitions of piracy include stealing stuff? They morph, but if I had to give a criticism, well, we already saw them in these outfits when they destroyed the advance force, so the coolness factor of them morphing is diminished. After some kick-ass fight scenes, we see the real part of the anniversary idea with this season, the Ranger Keys. Utilizing these keys, they transform into past Sentai teams, and naturally, their first is Go Ranger, utilizing their amazing technique of, tossing around a football bomb. Haha, what a story, Marculus. But no, it's not a bomb. It's a garbage truck. A garbage truck that sucks in a bunch of the Zangiak foot soldiers and then drives away to wherever. You know, I've reviewed comic books with twin clones of Hitler, cyborg animals with guns, and Batman fighting jazz-themed supervillains, and this is still really damn weird. After 2 more past series morphs, they prepare their final attack.
Who's talking?
The people thank them for saving them, but they claim they didn't fight the Empire to protect them. Yes, I shall disregard the gratitude of people who could potentially help us find the treasure. What a marvelous dick I am. Since this isn't really a multi-part storyline, the 5 first episodes aren't connected in the same way the Burai stuff in Jew Rangers was. The second episode, This Planet's Value, begins with Navi doing his fortune teller thing to find information about the treasure they seek.
Batman?
No, he's a scientist.
Batman's a scientist.
It's not Batman.
Oh my god, we're surrounded by Goths! Oh no! Fortunately for them, one guy in black claims he has the information on the treasure and just runs up to them. As it turns out, the Gokaiger don't actually know that the Ranger keys belonged to the Sentai heroes of Earth, making me wonder what the hell they thought they were doing. Did they think it was just like Final Fantasy X-2 and they thought they were dress spheres? The kid reveals he doesn't know crap and manages to steal one of the Ranger keys away. Marvelous and Ahim catch up to the kid, who's pissed because the Gokaiger have no intention of actually trying to protect people or understand the power that they're playing with. What's more, that his grandfather was killed in the Legendary War, triggering a flashback for the good captain. During a battle with Zangiak forces, he received the keys and was told to hunt for the One Piece or whatever by Aka Red, a kind of unique Sentai Ranger who's actually the spirit of all the Red Rangers or something. And then Marvelous was burned to death by superimposed explosions and came back from hell as Spawn or something. Anyway, the Zangiak attack again. And now, an advanced preview of Batman v Superman. The kid doesn't want more people to die defending him, so Captain Marvelous tells him that if he can defeat his enemy, he'll let him have the key. And actually, the kid does pretty well, taking out a whole legion of foot soldiers, but the monster smacks him away. Well, technically he did. He stole your weapons to do it. In fact, he's acted more like a pirate than you did, man. Also, what a marvelous asshole. You are wise in the ways of douchebaggery, young one. So they fight, blow up the monster, and then the monster grows up thanks to a new weapon by the Zangiak. And the Gokaiger show off their own weapons with the giant robot again, only this time revealing that its chest can open up to a big-ass cannon. Ah, nothing like US 1 brand dimensionally transcendental cannons. When you need to fit a cannon someplace it shouldn't fit, trust US 1 brand cannons. After a quick wrap-up, we see that the guy in black thing was actually true, as a guy in black wearing the symbol of the Sentai Magi Ranger is watching, leading us into the 3rd episode, Turning Courage into Magic. After forcing the galleon to crash, a monster kicks the asses of our heroes and separates them. Captain Marvelous and the green Gokaiger, Doc, not a bad name for him, considering with his fashion sense he looks a bit like Colin Baker, end up together, but are soon joined by the man in black. I am Saruman of many hair extensions. The former Magi Ranger explains that he does indeed know where the treasure is, but that they aren't ready for it yet. He's right, you know. Can your powers let you do this? He says he'll tell them the secret if they can catch him without morphing, but Doc thinks this could all be a trap. Ah, how marvelously impulsive. And shock of all shocks, they're led into a trap of sorts.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Amazing how I've been able to use that twice in Power Rangers related footage. To further prove Captain Marvelous's brilliant decision-making skills, his plan is to power on through the fire.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
This plan actually works, and he even throws Doc through the fire since he's afraid to go through it. Just to continue that streak of reckless idiocy, they're almost run down by a giant boulder, and his plan, yet again, is to dive right into it. Admittedly, he quickly uses his sword to create enough leverage for the boulder to just roll over them. The final test is to get to the Magi Ranger by leaping 15 meters to his island. Marvelous would have made it, somehow, if not for the monster showing up to interrupt the jump. Power Rangers, Super Sentai, it doesn't matter. Physics is for people who don't dress up in tight rainbow spandex. So now it's up to Doc to do it. I think this show is mistaking reckless idiocy for courage. Still, he figures out how he can pole vault over. You literally tried to crush them with a boulder! Anyway, Harry Potter here explains that if they can tap into all the powers of the 34 previous Sentai teams, they'll find the great treasure. This new power allows them to summon forth a new dragon mode for the big robot as tribute to Magi Ranger. Where did this thing come from, and how did it just emerge from their mecha? Well, just remember, it's magic. We don't have to explain it. We move on to Friends to What End, which begins with the Gokaigers trying out various other key combinations in the hopes of summoning more mech configurations. I appreciate the forward thinking, but of course they don't work. Only in Japan could the presence of a giant robot be considered boring. Anyway, this episode focuses on Joe, the blue Gokaiger, and trying to fight off a sword-wielding monster. Mind you, in a situation like this, I'd imagine an Indiana Jones thing would probably work best and just shoot the guy. But no, it's about how Joe needs to learn to accept help from his friends. I think it might be about Ahia needing to learn to accept different forms of friendship. I don't know. What just amuses me is that Power Rangers adapted this episode visually for no real reason. Dude training in a bamboo forest with two swords. I think they even used the same CGI for the blades that fly at him. It's just bizarre. The monster cheats during the follow-up fight. Well, in that case, just shoot him! Holy crap, I'm not used to one of these things actually doing what I tell it to do. Undo one more day! Damn. So, in an episode all about swordplay and whatnot, it's only natural that the rest of the team morphs into, Geki Ranger, a Sentai where the team utilizes martial arts. Of course. Well, maybe their second team will be Deca Ranger, where they shoot stuff. But hey, at least the other Gokaigers contribute their swords to help him. Wait, how did the swords just merge into multi-bladed weapons? And how does this actually help? He's still only got 2 arms.
This makes no sense, and yet it's working.
Anyway, monster explodes and Joe bakes a cake. And considering I already used the Lazy Town pirate song, naturally this deserves some follow-up.
It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. If the way is hazy, you gotta do the cooking by the book. You know you can't be lazy.
We end our look at Gokaiger with Judgment Pirates. The team learns that their bounties have gone up, which raises the question of who exactly is enforcing bounties if there's some intergalactic empire conquering things. You'd think fighting against that would be the priority, not a bunch of people whose piracy extends to fighting that empire. I mean, if it's the Zangiak enforcing the bounty, why are they printing newspapers? Anyway, Navi gives itself another concussion and tells them they should consult the police. Stupid bird, this is a ranger show. There are no police or military officials. The only law is the law of spandex. Captain Dumbass decides to head in alone and meets with the yellow Deca Ranger. Deca Ranger was a Sentai about space police, which makes me wonder how exactly she's just randomly handing out wanted posters in a Japanese police station.
SPD 宇宙警察か
Well, yes, actually. Turns out setting up random explosions everywhere while we do slow motion stunts is really expensive. She recommends all of them turn themselves in.
そういうことなら全員逃げるべし
All that remains is the good captain, who easily deals with the cops. What a marvelous ass kicker. However, he's soon confronted by the head of the space police, Doggy Kruger. Yeah, if you're only familiar with the Power Rangers equivalent, well, now we see the real need for additional funding. Although, to the credit of the quality they put into their fight scenes in this stuff, despite having that huge-headed costume, the fight scene is still pretty awesome. Hell, Marvelous even tries to have Kruger cut off his handcuffs, and he keeps himself from doing so. However, before he can bring Marvelous in for questioning, they spot a large group of Zangiak soldiers approaching. The Zangiak are planning to use subterranean missiles to dig through the ground and destroy major cities. Also, credit where credit is due, this plan of course fails, but they openly acknowledge why they can't pull this trick again. The missiles were too expensive. Geez, even in Super Sentai the economy is in shambles. Kruger refuses to take the cuffs off Captain Marvelous, even while he goes to deal with the missiles himself. However, upon realizing that Kruger is injured, Marvelous goes in to help. Still, Kruger warns that neither the cops nor the Zangiak will ever stop hunting them. Oh, so you guys are just pirates ironically. And yet you still refuse to speak with the accent. Well, fine. If you're not gonna do it, I will. Arr, you scurvy dogs! I be stopping your torpedoes, and I'm gonna send you to Davy Jones's locker. You haven't heard the last of the dread pirate Marvelous. Anyway, they fight the monster and get themselves a shiny new mecha thanks to unlocking Deca Ranger's powers. Also, guns. Lots and lots and lots of guns. You think those civilians are still bored even by this? And so our episode ends with the arrival of the Red Deca Ranger to clear them of the piracy charge, which was apparently a hoax made up by the Zangiak. So, just to be clear, the Pirate Sentai does not actually have pirates in it. Anyway, this series is great. And yeah, I'll probably watch more of it on my own at some point. I said that a while ago, but I have a lot of other stuff on my plate. I could point out that it's superior to Power Rangers Super Megaforce, but that isn't hard considering how garbage that season was. But just as Power Rangers must stand on its own, so must Super Sentai. So here's what I can say about this stuff. The action is great, and the characterization is pretty dang good. Despite my name-calling towards Captain Marvelous, it's obvious he does have a good side to him, and the characters have reasons for how they act. It's just those reasons aren't given in these early episodes. The 2 tribute episodes are very well handled actually, particularly Deca Rangers, since it allows for a lot more interaction. Maji Rangers was fine for the whole test thing, but it seems like it was less about courage and more about being a colossal dick with death traps. If I was going to criticize something about both, however, it's that their transformations into those teams in those tribute episodes was treated as a major event, except we've already seen them transform into them, so it kinda ruins the impact that it's meant to have. Seems like they should have started with a smaller selection to work with and gain more over time, like just Go Ranger to start with or something. Still, it's good stuff, and I didn't need any experience with the actual Sentais to understand what was going on. Next time, we enter March, and we continue our fairly new annual tradition of an overview of a comic character and their legacy. And with this one, I'm just blue skying a bit. you can do that?